head of the Star Wars program under Ford and Carter, and he's here to join us today for 9/11 Truth. Thank you. Give a big hand for Dr. Bob Bowman.
Thank you. How many of you were at the 9/11 press conference today at the National Press Building? Okay, a few of you. All right. A little about my background. I flew 101 combat missions in Vietnam. I've got a PhD from Caltech in Aeronautics and Nuclear Engineering. I was, for about 8 years, living around this town as an unpaid people's lobbyist, keeping the Reagan administration from putting weapons in space. His Joint Chiefs of Staff asked me to warn the American people in the Congress about this military lunacy, since Reagan had turned my Star Wars program from being a quiet research program to being a crash program to deploy offensive weapons disguised as defense. Ever since that, I've spent my last 25 years as a full-time troublemaker.
All right.
And the corrupt government's worst nightmare. Now, I've been warning the American people about how they've been lied to, about Star Wars, about the arms race with the Soviet Union, about the first Gulf War, about Kosovo, about Iraq, and of course, about 9/11. I'm here this week basically to bring my legislative program to Congress. Tuesday, I won my primary, and I am now the Democratic candidate for Congress from Florida's 15th District. When I get to Congress, I'm going to take the 9/11 movement mainstream. It's time this movement moved out of rented hotels and school auditoriums and parks into the halls of Congress. And we're going to make that happen. I'm going to be seeing several members of Congress in the next couple of days. Some who I worked with before against Star Wars, against the nuclear arms race, and against the other wars. I'm going to try to sign them up as co-sponsors of some of the legislation which I'm proposing. One of those pieces of legislation, of course, sets up a truly independent investigation of 9/11.
Yes!
With supervision not by the White House, but by Congress, the 9/11 Truth Movement, and the victims' families. If I'm asked for a couple of names of people to put on that, I'd say people like Jim Mars, Karen Breitweiser, you know the list. This commission must have subpoena power and must be capable of ordering sworn public testimony from everybody up to and including the President of the United States. Now, when that commission reaches its conclusion and finds out what really happened on 9/11 and who was responsible. That will be the time to talk of impeachment and indictments. But we can talk about those things right now in a way that has nothing to do with 9/11 except the fact that they used it as an excuse. We know that the Iraq War has nothing to do with weapons of mass destruction or freedom or democracy or human rights or protecting the people of this country. It has to do with oil, it has to do with money, and it has to do with raw imperial power. And we know it. And we also know we don't need an investigation for this. We don't need a commission for this. We know that the Iraq War was not caused by faulty intelligence. It was caused by manipulated intelligence and deliberate deception. That is treason, is right. And so I'm calling for the impeachment of Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, and Condoleezza Rice for the Iraq War. And then after our independent commission finishes its job, that will be the time to consider what other crimes they may be guilty of. Keep at it, guys. Keep demanding it. And I'm going to go up on Capitol Hill and demand it. And together, we're going to take this country back for the people. Thank you.